Hi everyone, welcome to Lilybug's Library. So it has been a great reading month. So so far, I mean, I know we're not that far into it, but so far it's been terrific. So let me tell you what I've been reading. And if I sniffle a little, I'm not getting sick or anything. I was watching Hallmark movies. And enough said, right? Okay, so the first one that I read was Dogcatcher in the Rye by Ellen Riggs. And it's the first in the Bought the Farm mystery series. Oh my goodness, it was so good. So it's about Ivy Galloway. She's looking to open a farm-themed inn. And so she goes home to her hometown of Clover Grove. She had managed to get this farm from someone and for a reasonable price, and she's looking to open an inn there. But before she gets anywhere near doing that, it turns out that someone has died in her field. And so her dog Keats, who is a border collie, he finds the body. And so it's her trying to, get that mystery solved of how this guy ended up there. He was a pretty nasty guy, so he had a lot of enemies. And Keats spends a lot of time trying to herd her where she needs to go and look after things. And he's very smart dog. And she has the police detective. I want to call him the chief of police, but I'm not sure if he is. He's out a lot, so I doubt it. He's probably just a detective, but, I can't see the police chief, getting that involved, but maybe in a small town. But it's the boyfriend that she had in high school is the one who is now the police detective. So he's got a little bit of a crush still on her, but at the same time he resents her a little because they ended up breaking up. And so it's very complicated, right? And her brother is also a police officer, and her sister is there who's trying to help her with things, and her best friend. And so it's really very much a whole family, small town atmosphere to it all. And then with the dog and how terrific he is, I just adored it. And definitely 5 out of 5 on that one. So that one was great. The next one I read was called Caught Dead-Handed by Carol J. Perry. And it's the first in the Witch City Mysteries. And so with this one, she goes to, I think it's Salem. Yeah, she goes to Salem, Massachusetts, and she's looking for a job as a TV reporter. So she gets there and they tell her, oh, sorry, the job's already gone. And so she's not happy. I mean, she's come all this way from wherever she was at to try and get this job, and they're telling her it's already done. So she's leaving the TV studio and trying to, I don't know, go lick her wounds or whatever, and she ends up almost falling over a dead body. She sees something and she looks, and there's this, big cat there, but there's also somebody who's obviously been drowned. And so she, races back and she, calls 911, and she does all these things. And it turns out the person who has passed away is someone who had also worked for the TV studio as a psychic. So she doesn't really know what's going on. I mean, she just got there, but they convince her that she could have that job. She could, and she's like, I'm not a psychic. Like, I don't know anything about this. And they said, oh, it's okay. Neither was she. So they said, you just have to, give a little advice and, say some words, and it's all good. So she does take on the job. So it turns out she also takes on the cat. She takes the cat home with her. And the cat is, very in tune to what, might have happened to its owner, as well as what's going on now. So a lot of times the cat's, seems to have, a little bit of kind of psychic powers as well. And then it's really good. And I really enjoyed, not just the cat, which sometimes with a pet cozy, it's more the pet that you love than the story. But I really love the story itself as well. And the fact that it gets quite deep. and the characters in it can be very complicated, more so than you even realize kind of going into it. So there's lots of, twists and things that happen that keep you guessing as to what really is going on. And I kind of figured it out close to the end, but they did she did such a great job of it. Like, it was amazing story. And I would definitely read another one of hers. Now, I don't know if they all contain the girl who is Lee, whether they all contain Lee or whether it's a different witch in each thing. But she finds out that she's a little more psychic than what she has given herself credit for. And so it gets very interesting. So I would definitely give that one 5 out of 5 as well. Like I said, it was a great reading month so far. So the next one was actually an ARC from NetGalley. So thank you to NetGalley and to the author and publisher. And this one is not a pet cozy. This one, like I said, because it was an ARC, it didn't fall into that category, but it does come out on July 16th. So I really wanted to get it read before then. So this one was called Faded by Sarah Reddy. Oh boy. I mean, it made me cry. It kept me guessing. It was just amazing. It's a love story and a time travel story. So this woman, Fiona, she she owns a watch shop. And she, it's like saying you own, I don't know, Bulova or Timex or I don't know, whatever, but even more impressive than that. So these, really beautiful custom watches and things, and her brother own it, and they work together to make these watches. So she has a best friend, Max, who is, he's in love with her, and she just doesn't feel that way about him. And she's not, she's really just caught up in her work, really doesn't have time for love. So, but she does have a daughter from a previous relationship. So she's also caught up in raising her daughter and, spending time with her family. And, that's really all she thinks she wants. So her mother left her when she was young and left her with her father, who also, her brother was living with her father because her brother was, maybe it's adopted brother, half brother. I don't remember. I don't think it's a half brother. Doesn't matter. The family dynamics aside, doesn't matter. So anyway, her mother had left her, and she's really kind of flighty, and she's not really mother material, right? Like, she would come in and out of her life, and it just wasn't really helpful. But this time her mother comes to visit and gives her this watch. And the watch is supposed to be, has this story around it, where if you hold the watch as you go to sleep, you will dream what your heart wants. And, you need to embrace that, right? So she goes to sleep, and turns out she dreams a whole life that she never even thought that she wanted, but it's to do with love. And so it's very... very interesting how she ends up in this other place in her dreams, and how that starts to translate to her real life, and then she finds, the man of her dreams. And, well, that's a silly way to put it, but you know what I mean. It gets complicated, dream life, real life. But it was such a good romance, and I love the whole idea of, this dream life that she had, and this kind of time traveling dream thing with her, with the watch, and it's just so good. And the characters were great. Fiona was really good. Like, she had, it got pretty complicated the last, half of the book, after she's dreamt this guy over and over. And so it was done really well. And I find sometimes if you get something that has, kind of two timelines, right? Like the dream and the real life. And sometimes that can get quite complicated. But this one was done so well that you really, you transitioned with her. And every time she came kind of back to real life out of the dream, like, it was a little stab in your heart, like, oh no, but the dream's going so well. And so it was a lot of back and forth that way, but had a great ending, really, fell for the characters and really wanted everything to work out. And the only thing I could say is I don't. This was part of a series called the Ghost series, and I think it was like maybe the third book in that series, and I think there's like maybe one more. But I was really hoping that it would be that the next book in the series would be about her brother, but it didn't look like it was. So, but that's, neither here nor there. It doesn't take away from this book. So I thought the book was great. Looking forward to trying the next one and seeing what it is about. And again, this was a 5 out of 5 read. So really enjoyed that one. And the next one, we're back to our cozy mysteries. And the next one was one that I've been waiting to get back to. And I just, it was like probably a year ago that I read the first one. And I don't know why it took me so long to get to the second one. But I think probably because it had Christmas packages on the cover. And I kept thinking, well, it's not Christmas. It's not Christmas. I can't read it yet. But anyway, I gave up on that and just read it. Actually, I listened to it. And so this one is called Traitorous Toys. And it is number 2 in the Cozy Corgi Mysteries. And so this one, it takes place in Estes Park again in Colorado. And the winter holidays are coming. And Winifred Page and her Corgi Watson, they're, doing everything in their shop, trying to get that bookshop up and running that Fred, which is what Winifred goes by, that Fred has purchased, and she's been working on this, trying to get it going. And it's taking her a lot longer than she would have liked. But in the meantime, someone ends up dying, and she has to help her friend Katie, who is being accused of the murder. And she knows full well Katie didn't do it. She walked in just after everything was going on, and Katie is over the dead body, and she knows that Katie was with her 2-3 minutes before that Katie couldn't have done this. But there's 2 detectives. Now, one of them is, kind of her boyfriend and is really, on her side. But the other one really doesn't like her. Doesn't like her family, and is, very quick to throw Katie in jail just because, it's a friend of Fred's. So Fred spends some time trying to find a lawyer, trying to get this person out of jail, and then trying to figure out what it is that happened. And Watson, sniffs around, and, he's a good helper when it comes to all of that, and very sweet. Like, I just love corgis. They're, I don't know, something about them. There's just their little wiggly bums, and, they're just so cute. So I hear they're a lot of work, a lot of, very active, but they seem so cute in books. Turns out that, the murder itself, they think it was caused by a certain thing. I don't want to give too much away. So they think it was caused by a certain thing, which it was, but it was the way that it was wielded as a weapon. And then they have to find out who it was that actually did this. And then, of course, there's, a decent list of suspects. And a really cool little kind of trick that the author used, I found made it so I had no idea right up until near the end when things started to reveal themselves who the killer was. And I really appreciated the way that she did it and how it all came across. So again, that's another one that I would give 5 out of 5 stars. And I'm not just being an easy marker. Like, these have been really good. So the next one is Pearls and Peril, and it's the first in the Norwegian Forest Cafe mysteries. And I have to say, that's another one that I've, for ages, thought, oh, I got to read that, and just haven't got to it. So I'm appreciating this month with all the pet cozies, because I'm getting to a lot that I haven't. So I like that. So this one, this woman had a great idea. She's running a cat cafe. So her name is Laura, and she has a Norwegian forest cat named Annie. And they run their own cat cafe. So Annie is allowed to be in the cafe when it's running. And so are other cats, but there doesn't seem to be any other cats that come. It's just Annie. And I thought Annie was just an adorable character. She greets the guests at the door, and they'll ask her, where should I sit today? And she'll go, "Meow." And then she'll take them to a table, and, you know, and it's like, she's just such a sweet cat and seems so intelligent. At one point, some guy lost his glasses, and, you know, Annie had the glasses, like she had put them away for him, kind of thing. Like, it's so cute. So again, though, everything seems to be going along fine. And then one of their customers ends up dead. Thankfully not in the shop, so they don't blame her. But when the more she hears about it, the more she thinks, like, that doesn't sound like it was just an accident. And sure enough, they decide it was murder. So then she and her, I think it's her cousin that works with her in the cafe. Her name is Zoe. And so the two of them together try to figure out what happened with this murder. And, you know, because they don't want it, you know, they like the person who was murdered, and they like the person who was accused. So they're trying to really get to the bottom of things. And again, absolutely terrific story. The characters were well developed. Really loved the whole small town atmosphere of it, because there's a lot of people in the town that are terrific, and then a couple who aren't. So it was really interesting to see all the different customers as they came and went, and what Lauren and Zoe's opinion of them was, and how they kind of fit into the town. So really enjoyed that one. Really loved the cat. Again, another 5 out of 5. All right, so the last one was, again, not a cozy this time. It was one that has been on my list for probably a year. But I finally got to the first one. It's a trilogy by Nora Roberts, and the first one was called Dark Witch, and it's the Cousin O'Dwyer trilogy. So this one was really interesting. It starts out with Iona, who comes from, I don't know where exactly she came from. I don't think it says, or if it does, I don't remember. But she ends up going to Ireland to spend time with her cousins there. And so they've heard this legend their whole lives about this witch who had children, and they were going up against these dark forces. And so they kind of, it's kind of like Voldemort, like you kill him, but you don't really kill him. So they kind of took this entity down, but not to the point where he didn't start building his power back up. So, of course, it's, you know, like many, many years later, I mean, hundreds probably. Anyway, he's back up, you know, in force, and they need to take him down for good. So it needs to be the three of them, these two cousins and Iona, that do this. So she comes to Ireland to learn how, basically. So she gets taught how to use her magic and things from her cousins. She ends up, she has a way with animals, and so she ends up working in this horse facility, like an equestrian school sort of thing. She ends up working there and meets someone there that she really likes, and so it kind of goes from there. But it's also, there's moments where this entity tries to take her out, because if she gets strong enough and it's the power with the three of them, then it's less likely that the entity will survive. And if you read any magical books, it's always the power of three, right? Just like Charmed and, you know, all these things. So anyway, it was really good. I can't quite give it 5 out of 5. It was pretty darn close, but it did kind of run a little long in spots. And of course, you know, there wasn't yet a satisfactory ending, because it is a trilogy and this is only the first book. But I did enjoy it, and I am looking forward to reading the next two of the trilogy. And so I would give that one 4 out of 5. So still really good. And I just think it was, you know, like I said, a really good month so far for reading. I got a lot read so far, mostly just because I've been at a lot of appointments and things, and I just take my Kindle with me, and while I'm sitting there and waiting, I I can manage to read some. So anyway, that's you're all caught up now. That's what I've been up to. So happy to have all those ones done. Still working on 2 other pet cozies and ready to start a third one on Audible. So I'm just, I have to say, out of all the months that I've done the channel, which I'm not sure if it's been over a year or just a year, probably not quite a year yet. But anyway, out of all the months I've done it, this definitely has to be my favorite, and the one that I seem to be having the most luck is in really enjoying the books. So anyway, that. Well, for some reason, on the last couple of seconds, we have no sound. So I was just saying goodbye, so I will say that and hope everybody has a great day. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye bye.